The 49ers signed Javon Hargrave to a 4-year, $84 million year this offseason, and they look at this deal as a huge win for a few reasons. One, he's a really good player, and two, he was on the Eagles. The Niners strengthened themselves and weakened their chief rival in the NFC. So that's how they see it, and we all are familiar with the Niners' perspective, but I think it's important to look at this move from the Eagles' perspective. Right or wrong, I don't think the Eagles care that much that they lost Javon Hargrave. Not that he's not good, but look at it from their perspective. Javon Hargrave is a very good pass rusher. If you give him a one-on-one matchup, he's going to win that a lot. He's not a particularly good run defender. And that's why the Eagles ranked 24th in yards per attempt allowed last year. Their run defense wasn't good. And if you remember, when the Niners were going to face the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, one of the big reasons that most 49ers fans and content creators picked the Niners to win that game is that the Eagles' run defense just wasn't good. And it wasn't. And a big reason was Hargrave. Hargrave is a smaller defensive tackle. And again, he's good if he has a one-on-one, but on passing plays. But against the run, he can get moved around. He's a bit of a liability. And that's a big reason why the Eagles used a 5-man front last year. They were trying to create one-on-one matchups. They were trying to prevent opponents from double-teaming Javon Hargrave, and they still struggled to stop the run. Christian McCaffrey still ran the ball pretty much at will against the Eagles, even when the Niners were out of quarterbacks. So from the Eagles' perspective, yeah, they lost a really good pass rusher who created opportunities for others, but they still have 3 or 4 top-notch pass rushers. Their pass rush can take a step back, and they still could have the best pass rush in the league. What they need is to improve their run defense, and I think from their perspective, they have, simply by, giving his 600 to 700 snaps to better run defenders, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis. That's the way they look at it. Maybe they're kidding themselves. From the Niners' perspective, they're looking at it like they just got Warren Sapp, but I'm looking at it like they run a wide 9. This is a kind of a specialty, almost a gimmick defensive front where there's 4 guys on the line and they're very spread out. So this helps the pass rush, but against the run, those defensive tackles are always vulnerable to double teams, both of them. I mean, every time. And so that's why the Niners have kept guys like Eric Armstead. That's why they drafted Javon Kinlaw. They're supposed to be guys who you just can't move even with the double team, that they can take on those double teams and hold their ground. That's not Javon Hargrave. I mean, it's never been Javon Hargrave. He's never played in a 4-man front like this. He's not really built to withstand double teams. He's built to beat one-on-ones, and good coaches have created those for him. I don't know that the Niners will, at least, not on first and second down. So maybe what the Niners are thinking is they had a great run defense last year. It was great. Maybe they feel like they're willing to take a step back against the run just to improve their pass rush. Because frankly, the Niners' run defense was way better than their pass rush last year. Their pass rush was Nick Bosa and then a little Charles Omenihu who sprinkled in when they could on third down. Now they have 2 serious pass rush threats, on the field at all times in Bosa and Javon Hargrave. 2 guys that really need to be, accounted for at all times on first down, second down, third down, really double teamed. But against the run, it seems like the Niners are taking a huge step back. Hargrave is a liability. Ask the Eagles. And they lost Samson Ebukam, who was ask D'Amico Ryans. He said that he was the Niners' best run defender on the edge, better than Bosa. So does run defense matter anymore? I mean, the Niners they still have Eric Armstead. Nick Bosa's good against the run, if a little undisciplined. And they still have really good linebackers. So maybe they'll just be, good against the run and not great. But from the Eagles' perspective, I don't think they're sweating losing Javon Hargrave. And from the Niners' perspective, either they're overestimating what he can provide them at $21 million a year. They think he's going to be, Aaron Donald or something, or they're okay with being not so good against the run. I don't know. Do you have to stop the run to win the Super Bowl? It seems to me that part of the reason the Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl is that they couldn't stop Isaiah Pacheco right up the gut. And who was controlling the A and B gap for the Eagles? It was supposed to be Hargrave. So definitely an upgrade over what the Niners had at defensive tackle last season, but it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in a wide 9 front. It's a little bit of a awkward fit, and they're paying him way too much to be like a rotational player. He can't just come in on 3rd downs and rush the quarterback. He's got to play all 3 downs. And again, look at his history. He's about to be 30 years old. He's always been in a rotation. He's never been a guy that really plays the whole game. So I'm very interested to see how the Niners make this fit work. It's kind of like they're selling it as Justin Smith 2.0. Justin Smith was a little undersized, but Justin Smith was like the strongest defensive lineman I've ever seen. He might have been 295 pounds or whatever, but you couldn't move him with a double team. I mean, you couldn't move him with a triple team sometimes. He would drag multiple offensive linemen into the backfield with him. He was relentless. I've seen Javon Hargrave play. Really good guy, really good player. Plays with good leverage, gets low to the ground, shoots gaps. Not Justin Smith. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how the Niners and Eagles match up. They're supposed to play each other next year. I hope they play early in the season. And what the Niners have to remember about that matchup is, even though they wrote off the whole game as really not counting because Purdy got hurt, look at what happened to the defense. Niners said they would have won that game if their quarterback had been healthy. Well, the week before, with their quarterback healthy, they only scored 19 points against the Dallas Cowboys. How many points were they really going to score against the Eagles? And the Eagles scored 31 against the 49ers, and they really beat up that Niners defensive line. They ran the ball for 4 touchdowns in that game. So Javon Hargrave helps their pass rush, but the Niners need to be able to stop the Eagles' run game. I mean, they need to be able to win the line of scrimmage in the run game against Philly when they face each other in the regular season next year, and then probably in the playoffs too. So that's something the Niners need to look at in the draft. Run defense. They brought in Cleveland Farrell. He'll help, but they need another run defender at defensive tackle because T.Y. McGill is small. Kevin Givens is small. Javon Hargrave is small for a defensive tackle. Javon Kinlaw, he's supposed to be that guy. So it's either going to be him or someone else. Right now you got Armstead. And Armstead only played half a season last year. Great run defender. He is a great run defender. Now they sort of need him more than ever because, I mean, it's him and Bosa defending the run right now. So it'll be interesting to see how the Niners approach this. They have a new defensive coordinator in Steve Wilks. Does he value run defense as much as DeMeco Ryans and Robert Saleh? I don't know. Remember, DeMeco Ryans coached underneath Robert Saleh. They had a very similar philosophy in defense. Steve Wilks is his own man. He's older than both of them. He has his own philosophy. Maybe he doesn't care about run defense. We shall see. Anyway, always important to look at it from the other team's perspective.